Good morning. Yes, I've been saying good morning, people. We are people, right? Unless we learn something different that hasn't been. Today is the 11th of November, and I believe, according to the calendar, and according to the car that's still out in the yard on the driveway, it's Veterans Day. Meaning, I think Nancy's here for a holiday. Anyway, I went to bed early last night, so I woke up early. I always wake up early, but then I usually try to go back to sleep. But really, the early bird does catch the worm, so I need to change that. I I figured it's early yet. The house is still quiet, and I'm up. And the pot of coffee was full, so I had some, or I'm having some. It's really good. Thank you to those parties who took care of that. I haven't seen the pot that full before, but I'm glad to have it. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and read. Excuse me. You know, I'm sure that a lot of people aren't really interested in that, but you know what? I bet you there are some that are. So I've got to figure out how to get the word out there so that people will come and partake, because it's something that you might not partake of unless you have that as a goal. Members of the church, we're supposed to, and it's been a long time since I heard that, but I'm sure it's still the same. We're supposed to read the scriptures every day, even if it's just 10 minutes, okay? Do a little devotional. Devote your 10 minutes of time to learning what's in there. There's some good things in there. I never did like the Old Testament, but there's probably good things in there too. You know that thing where Moses parted the sea? I read in the Old Testament where that happened again in a different place. Not Moses and the Jews that he got released, who went into the wilderness and but got out of bondage. But there was another time that something happened where someone parted the sea, parted the water. And I mean, it's been years and years and years since I read that, because I read that when I was first married, my very first marriage, which means, wow, long time ago. Yes, I hear you, kitty kitty. Um, when I first got married, I was very young. But then I went through a lot of different things because our first year, I got us a house, a low income house, brand new house, low income program. Man, that house is worth a bloody fortune now. Wish I still had it. But I moved on. My husband got a horse and got tired of going and feeding the horse somewhere else. I wanted him on our property. So, him or her, it was a her. So I started looking for property. And I found a place. It was an old place, but that's the way you get stuff. Okay? You don't have to have the brand new. But I found a little old house, a brick house, and it had an acre of land. And through a lot of trying and figuring out, I was able to get it. Yes, I was the driving force of our first house. My husband about lost it, and I did such a good thing. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back. Those low income programs are pretty wonderful, and they still have them today. You should investigate. I should investigate, but I'm on the tail end. I don't know. It'd be nice if I had another 20 years to live. And so I can't be thinking that I'm on the tail end. It's just that I'm getting there. But maybe I'll live a long time. So, anyway, with the help of the first house, I'm sure we had to have a down payment. So when I sold the first house, I had the money for the down payment. It was a nice little place, but it was an old little place. Bigger than the house that I've got now, the one that I'm trying to sell. And I've decided if I don't sell it, I'm going to move into it and see what I can do with it, because it can be a nice place, even though it looks like a little shack, and that is what I call it, a little shack. But hey, so roof over your head, walls, protects you from the elements, and it has electricity, and it has plumbing, and it has septic. You know, there's a lot to be said for that. I have lived the last 10 years, not the last 10 years because I've been away 2 years, but the last 10 years of my marriage, I lived like I was camping, and that is no fun at all. Big, big, lot of work. So, if my place had it does have electricity, but what I'm trying to say is if I had all that I needed, which is electricity and water and septic, you know, those things are pretty important. So anyway, I see the value in my place, my little place that other people think, oh my God, are you kidding me? Well, just think about it. I'm not just selling a little house, I'm selling an opportunity. And even more than that, see, I've got a lot downtown, a commercial lot. So you could, and it's 6 or 7 blocks from the house, okay? So you could go down there and pull a little trailer in and have a little business. As long as it's not an old dilapidated trailer. If it's something newer, looks good, you can have it. You can make a little coffee shop, which there's probably already a restaurant with a coffee shop. But there's a difference between going into a restaurant and having a cup of coffee. I mean, that's a really nice thing to do when you're sharing time with your family, your friends. Just go and have the ambiance and have a good talk. But then there's something to be said for the little portable thing. I see all these coffee shops, Starbucks, but I see all these Starbucks everywhere. And in the city where there's so many people, there's almost one on every block. That's what I heard the other day. And not just that, you walk into a Safeway, there's a Starbucks. I mean, the one that's here, there's a Starbucks. Nevertheless, we like our treats, right? And how many people are going to Starbucks and paying $5 or more just for a cup of coffee? I mean, it's a specialized cup of coffee, but still. And some people will do that 3 or 4 times a day. That's a lot of money for coffee. So it's not so far-fetched that a person couldn't do that. Just start looking for a good deal on a camper that's the right size. That lot is actually 140 feet deep. I'm so shocked. I did not believe that it was that deep. So I've got both this little house and this lot advertised for sale. And really, if I didn't have plans for other things, I would just go there and fix it up. But it's something you really need a second person, or you need the money to hire somebody else to do it. It takes two. What I do on that little house, I'm just putting out a dream, is you get a power washer and you wash the outside of the house really good and hope that it doesn't fall apart because of the pressure. But you get it all clean. And if you have to put some shingles back up, you do that, okay? Because it might have blown them off. Because those power washers are pretty powerful. But anyway, then you let it all dry and stuff, and then you get a sprayer. There's a paint sprayer. And then it would be lickety split to paint that little house a beautiful little color, okay? The roof, I'm thinking the roof looks like it's shingles. And I don't know that I want to use power washer up there, but it is something you could do. And those metal roofs, when you put up metal, a lot of times they'll just put metal on top of what's there, so they don't have to rip a bunch of stuff off. They just cover it with the metal. And then those metal roofs are really great. I mean, they might get dented if you have hail, but pretty much I don't think they're going to fail. I had to rhyme. So there you got, just on the outside, get a paint sprayer and a gallon of paint, and you're done. The fence, if all the metal is still there, I hope it is. But if all the metal is still there, it would not be hard to go ahead and put the fence back up because the posts are there. All you got to do is pick up the metal. You need someone to hold the other end and screw it together. And there you go. You've got your fence for privacy in your backyard. Unless you have dogs, and I mean, that's another reason, but privacy is a good thing. Walk out your back door, and unless someone's up on a ladder, they can't see into your backyard. Or unless they're an airplane or a helicopter going by, they shouldn't be able to see into the backyard. Those pieces of metal that we had up, they are barn metal, the old strong barn metal. And there's rust in some spots, but that's okay. And you just take the metal and lay it on its side, okay? So it's like this. And then the posts are in between. You just screw it to the post. Now, the reason it's blown down like it is because the wind was fierce and we weren't there to put it back up, okay? But I think the metal is still there. So if I had a friend, Shane, or Nick, I haven't really asked Nick. I don't know if he could do that, take a little trip with me, but he might. Anyway, I just need helping hands. That's what it would be, okay? So I got the tools. I could stop by my property in Colorado and pick up my tools and screws. I probably have a big old box of screws. I have, when you go to buy screws, when you're doing things, you can get a big old bucket, okay? But it's all the same size, so we have a bucket for this and a bucket for that. Like we had 3.5-inch screws at one time because we were putting a 2x4 onto a 2x4 and you needed to be able to go through it. Sometimes a 1-inch, 1.25-inch screw. The point is I have different, I don't know what there's there now, but I had a big old bucket of screws and I'm not sure what size either. And then you get the right kind, whether it's Phillips or there's a different kind so it'll hold into the screwdriver better. But anyway, I've got all kinds of electric screwdrivers and stuff for all kinds of different things. There's even one just for putting up sheetrock. But that house is plaster. The walls are plaster. I don't think they're going to need any help. I just think I need to go and get inside my house and see what condition it is in. And really, when I thought about it, it's really not that much to do. I mean, someone else might look at it and think there is. But you paint the inside and the outside. See, I left that house furnished, okay? So I wouldn't have to worry about going out and getting anything. Except for that, if I was going to do it right, I would go and I would find me some nice carpet remnants, okay? You can get them cheaper than measuring it out and just getting what you need. In that house, the rooms are only 11 feet wide, so that's 1 foot off of 12, right? And the bedroom is only 9 feet wide, so you would cut 3 feet off of the one side, and with that piece of carpet, you can go into the bathroom, and you can go into the walk-in closet and carpet those. So all you'd need is a remnant for the living room, a 12 by 13, and then you need a 12 by 13 for the bedroom. And then you just cut off the 3 feet, do those other 2 rooms. And the kitchen, I mean, you can get kitchen carpet, but there's some really nice linoleum out there that will lay. You won't have to have someone glue it down and all that stuff. I mean, what you do is get you some double-sided tape, and on the edges where you want it to stay. You wouldn't even really have to put the tape there, but you could. Because they do. They've got the linoleum where it'll just lay. So you just cut it the right dimensions and it'll just lay there. It's not going to go anywhere. Understand? So what is that? You got 1, 2, 3 remnants that you need to pick up. Or I need to pick up. And I really should do that. But like I said, I left the house full. There's a bed. I believe there's 2 dressers in the bedroom. The living room has got 2 hide-a-bed couches. They're old. And then an entertainment center is what we used to call it. You know, big wood cabinet. It's got a big old opening for your TV. Well, we've got a TV, a 46-inch color TV on the top of that, and we screwed it down. Make it harder for someone to come in and steal it. I think that was our reasoning. I'm not sure. Anyway, I've got the walls lined. Okay, let me say that better. The walls are lined with bookcases, you know, because that's a little house and there's not much room for storage. And I don't even know what's in those bookcases, but they're little bookcases. They're not all that tall, and they're only like 9 inches deep. And so you can put your VHSs on there. You can do all kinds of stuff. And then I've got some other cubicles. You see those still, where they're like a foot square or whatever. There's a set of cubicles. And I can't remember for exact, you know, because we might have one on top of the other. But I put my book that I was writing so long ago and the papers that I read on here. There's copies and copies and copies of my papers in that house. I left some jewelry there too. When we left, I didn't really pack. We packed up all of our dogs. We had 2 dog trailers. We didn't even get out of town very far. We had a flat tire. That's beside the point. But anyway, we had 2 dog trailers and 2 vehicles and a lot of dogs, okay, because our puppies had now grown up. You know, all they got to do is get past 6 months old and they're pretty big. So we had 3 adult dogs and 2 litters that were becoming adults. We had sold, I think we had sold 1 dog out of each litter because we were not in a very good location. It wasn't because of the dogs. The dogs were wonderful. It's just hard when you have things against you. Like location, location, location. That does make a difference. The cat over here, he likes lovin's. He's gotten a little bit, he went to bite me again today. But they're like, it's a love bite, but a little worse, a little more forceful. Don't you bite me, boy. He already bit me the other day. And it was in the dark, and I was laying in the bed, and I was just petting him. I was reaching out, petting him, and he turned around and bit me. I'm going, okay, I'm not petting you no more. But anyway, so I'm not sure what all my point is I was just dreaming about my house. I've got somebody interested, but I'm serious. The more I thought about my house as I was trying to figure out how to make the ad, how to tell people about it, how to entice someone, you know, there is work. But sometimes, you know, there are people who need to be able to do sweat equity instead of so much money down and so much this and that. I am the owner of the house and I can carry a contract, but that's not what I need to do. I need cash so I can go do something while I have time. I hope that my prognosis, is that the right word, continues to get better and better. I'm excited that there was healing. She could see, I didn't mean to wear my glasses so much, she can see the healing in my bones. So I'm hoping, because what I understand is cancer will die if you starve it from what it wants. And mine wants my hormones, but it also, cancer wants sugar, and that's a bit of a difficult one. And iron, I understand it wants iron too. So you people, unless you're anemic, don't be taking iron if you have cancer. Okay? Not going to help. And there's still so much I need to do. And I can see me in my little house. Except for I just don't want to be away from my family. That's been the big deal. I came back up here wanting to be with family. And some of my family I need to see. Teresa D. I need to be able to spend some time with you. I want to help you. If there's things I can do to help you while I'm able, I would really like to. Now here's coming up. Dad will be buried this week. And then the Monday and Tuesday after that, I'm going in for cancer treatments. See my doctor and have my treatments. And they're every 28 days. Okay? They've already got me set up for the next month treatments. But that involves the timing of the holidays. If I was able to stick around, I could be visiting for the next month here and there. And then have my treatments, and then I'm going to go to Jesse's for Christmas. Unless something else happens. You never know. Things could change. But I don't know, I'm just not such a jet setter, because I could just go right after my appointments and then spend Thanksgiving with Jessica. But I want to spend Christmas with her too. And so my next appointments are right smack in the middle of that. If I stayed in this area and got up here for my appointments, then I would be, I think I'd be leaving on the 17th. I'd be able to leave. That still gives, 8 days, I think, before Christmas Day. Now I need my glasses on. I'm going to look at this calendar and just see what it says here. Okay. It is not November 1st. It's November 11th, people. Okay, so I had it figured out when. Okay, so my next appointments would be the 16th and the 17th of December. And then the 18th I could leave. As far as if I was packed up and ready to go and had a plane ticket, I could just leave on the 18th of December. And then go and spend Christmas and New Year's with Jessica and see what's going on. We're trying to figure out where I'm going to go live, okay? And I might live with my daughter, depending on how things go. And enjoy my family, which would really be nice. I haven't seen them in 2 years. I think 2 years ago, Christmas, I was at their place. And it was nice. It was real nice. We don't appreciate what we've got until it's gone, do we? Or that we don't have it. And then you go years without having it, and it's like, wow, where did all the time go? But it does. It goes so fast. So anyway, I've got things to figure out, things to do. And I'd like to be able to figure that out so I wouldn't have to worry, because I do a lot of worrying. And I wish I had my wits about me, because, then I could be advertising some stuff. I got things that I need to sell. But I have found it's much easier to sell if you're there, like selling a house. They want to go look at it. They want to make sure everything's cool beans and that it's real. Well, that's pretty. Really? Oh my. Custom 1 carat Galaxy diamond ring, 3,500. It was 4,000 or best offer, and I've changed it to 3,500. Last updated 16 hours ago. I've got my wedding rings that I was thinking I might sell. And this is on OfferUp. That looks like an Avon ring. but they're saying it's not. It says stunning 2.15 carat brilliant diamond ring 1000 shipped for 449. I just, that's one I would be scared of. I need to take my ring to the jewelry store. That is beautiful. And find out what it's worth. I saw a ring that did not look as pretty as mine on here. Just because it's on here and there's a price on it doesn't mean anything necessarily. However, it's nice to see, but someone's got the right price. In other words, her ring was not as pretty as mine. I'm not sure if her diamond was bigger or if the collaboration of what she's got was the amount that she said. My center diamond, the solitaire part, is 40 points, and it's very clear. In other words, it's high quality. And then there's 5 diamonds on each side that I don't know the size or how much that adds. I mean, because I would like the whole, I got the thing about the solitaire is 40 points, but the other diamonds, I'd like to know what the total is for the whole thing. And then I could put that on there. So I'm in the course of trying to gather up money. But like I said, it's kind of hard to do when you're not there. Like my house. She's really interested. She's got cash, I think. And she's 75. She just wants a home base, just a place like to park a car and put your stuff and be able to be there when she wants to be, but to be able to be free to go. Like she wants to go to Florida, I think, a couple of months out of the year, and doesn't sound like she's got any major problems to worry about. She's got a house that she could sell if she, came to mind. She's got a house that she can rent. And I told her, I said, you know what, depending on your situation, when we get to a certain age, we don't know. And so you could sell your house, get your equity out of it, and not be paying that mortgage. Let someone else worry about it. Instead, your mortgage is $2,500, and so you rent it for $3,000 is what they told her she could rent it for. So what, you're going to get $500 a month? Is that going to do a lot for you? I mean, at this stage of our life, when we don't know what's coming around the bend, you can just settle for that $6,000 a year if you get $500 a month. That is not very much. Yeah, you got the freedom from that mortgage, but you still could have a lot more. Understand? I think you do. But sometimes we just got to think about that, because we don't think in terms that we're going to die. But you can't take it with you. So when you die, someone else will get that equity. Just as well be you. You know what I mean? Jelly bean? Okay, that's enough of that. So I thought I'd get on here and read, and now I've already talked for almost a half an hour. Maybe I should finish this up and then start again and read, because I want to read the second chapter in First Nephi. That's a good thing to do. So like, what I was saying, if you were to read every day, you could decide which book do you want to read in the Book of Mormon. And if you have to, just stop yourself in 2 verses, but it'll take you a lot longer that way. I mean, if the chapters are really long, I don't know, but I would read it chapter by chapter. But I have come across some things that were way too long. And especially ones that were written in the 1800s, they use words that are different. So they got these words, and I don't know what they mean. I don't know how to pronounce them. It makes it very difficult for me to read it. So, again, I'll tell you, there is that app, Gospel Library. Put that on your phone. Put that on your device, whatever. And then you click on it, and there's a place down below where there's books on a bookshelf. Click on that, and then that will give you a bunch of different books to choose from. One of them being the Book of Mormon. But it's got the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. And then it's got the Pearl of Great Price and the Doctrine and Covenants. And then it's got the hymn book is there with all the hymns. And then the children's hymn book is there with all those hymns. And then there's some other books. Jesus the Christ is there. And wow, that I had a hard time reading. It's really deep, really heavy. And I'm talking about the words that are in it. And I found that it was, I think it was written or published or something, 1915. But there's words that I did not understand. And I didn't take the time to look them up and see what they meant. When you're reading, you want to just be able to just read. When you're studying, then you take the time and find out, what does that word mean? And what does that mean to this thing that they've written? But if you are into heavy stuff, Jesus the Christ is very good. And I only read 2 chapters and I fell asleep because I was having to stumble across these words. So the other thing I'm trying to say is, if you're really interested in what's in there, it has the capability of reading it to you. So they do the reading and they don't stumble over the words. And you can just listen, and that makes a big difference. There are some things, that I thought maybe I could do justice because I know all about it. But boy, I had a hard time. I really did. And I think I fell asleep twice. But I still left it going because, in other words, I still put it on here because it was important. And I endeavored to read what I did read, okay? And then I didn't stay asleep forever. But I did fall asleep right there in front of you. But my brain shuts down. If I have to do too much working, so here I am trying to read. That's a big deal already. And then I come across a word that I do not understand, don't know how to pronounce, and so I'm trying to do that. And then my brain is all engaged, okay? So it's getting all confused. And when I get confused, I fall asleep, okay? This is good night. That's something I've noticed about myself. So anyway, I'm at 32:44. So I'm going to try to go for my goal, which means I have another minute almost to talk. But nevertheless, I'm going to be packing up my stuff. Talking about when you die, you leave everything behind. Well, when you move around a lot, you leave a lot behind too. And even when you don't move around, I had 2 50-foot storage units full of stuff that I paid storage on for more than 10 years. And I knew I was never going to get back there to get it. So I let it go. So the town of Downs was very lucky that day. And maybe whoever else came, hopefully they did a good advertising and a bunch of people came. 2 50-foot lockers. There was a bunch of Avon in there. Boxes and boxes. And we had a piece of a bowling alley, the floor. We were going to use that to make whatever you can make with that. In other words, cabinets, the top, the countertop, it could be. Anyway, it was neat. And I don't know how they got it there, and I don't know how they got it out of there because it was big and heavy. It would be solid wood almost, so it's like hardwood, I think. Nevertheless, sometimes there's interesting things in people's lockers. So, I bless the Downs area. And that little house provided a port in a storm. So I had a nice big brick home in Downs. And I traded it. I traded that house for 70 acres in Colorado, but I didn't get the amenities of life that I needed. The well was 1,500 feet away from the power. The power was right outside, so we had a cluster of trailers, but then we had to go to the well to get the water. So we had a water tank in the back of a pickup. You know, the pickup box, they took that off the pickup, and that was the water tank. In other words, it was the vessel that we held the water tank in and hauled it back and forth from the well. And then the actual water tank was in the back of the pickup bed. Anyway, point is, we made it, but it was not easy. Nothing was easy. But we have the experience left. Joe's still out there, but I'm going to probably have to sell that place too. I just was holding on because we raised dogs. We had a lot of dogs, and we loved our dogs, okay? And so when I left, I think we had 4. I'm thinking it was, wondering if I can remember her name. Goldie. No, it wasn't Goldie. Goldie had already gone. I know Bear was there, and I can see that little girl in my eyes, but I can't remember her name. Snuggles. That was her name. We called her Snuggles. She liked to snuggle. So, Clyde and Tank, Bear, and Snuggles, I think is what was left when I left. And when I left, I didn't know I wasn't going back. That just came about. And I have passed my dadgum mark that I was going to do. I get carried away and talk about something new. Anyway, here before long it'll be at the magic number. So I will say goodbye, and I will return to read 1 Nephi, 2nd chapter. And I think it's pretty small. I don't know. Someone's going somewhere outside. I heard the truck. Like the neighbor's truck. Bye, y'all.